So one of the things that we talked about, that I think it's important to understand. So how does this podcast come about, right? You and I, for years now, have been working through locally this approach with officers throughout Central Indiana,
Right.
of taking some time, push and pause. I've described it as like preventative maintenance, right?
Right.
Tell officers it's like going and getting your oil changed. Come in, get your oil changed. We call it Code 3 here. Right. Code 3 means something different in every part of the country, right? Yeah. Out west, it may mean an emergency response with lights and sirens and everything. Right. Here, Code 3 means taking a break.
Take a break.
And so we do Code 3, but, you could call it whatever you want, Remnant Revealed, perhaps. But is the opportunity to push pause and take these challenges and find resources and tools to work through those. And if you're talking about heart issues, you're talking about issues of the spirit. This is an opportunity that we are taking within this podcast of doing it through, again, a biblical perspective. I think it's important that we have that discussion. Why are we utilizing this as our roadmap versus other resources?
Well, because this is the word of life. This is a living book. It grows, it flourishes, it lives in you. You can read this book, as I have, 4 or 5 times a year, every year for many, many years, and still go back through it, and it's alive.
But many officers may...
And it's the Word of God.
Again, they may have religion all through their lives, perhaps, or none at all.
Right.
But even if they've been in a church, grew up in a church, whatever, oftentimes they're going to say, that's some old book. That doesn't have anything to do with the here and now today. They toss it to the side, or they say, how does this apply to anything I'm doing in policing, especially in this day and age?
Well, I would make the challenge, crack the book before you make those statements, because your evidence is not correct.
Right.
So, as I told one old copper meeting years ago, I got in this car and he said, well, you people are weak, you preachers, you're weak and you're soft and it doesn't take anything to do what you do. And I said, oh, really? He said, yeah. I said, well, no, it's actually the reverse. Actually, this is the toughest thing of life. Well, I'll prove it to me. I said, okay. Well, from now on until the end of shift, do not utter one curse word.
Mm-hmm.
James says that if you can rule your tongue, the book of James says if you can rule your tongue, then you're strong enough to rule your whole body. So come on, big boy, show me just exactly how tough you are. You spend all shift without saying one curse word like I do, and we'll see who's tough. He laughed, He's a wonderful guy. Please don't misunderstand. And we were precious, precious friends. And he said, all right, you're on. I'll show you, preacher.
Mm-hmm. Challenge accepted.
Yeah. He said, I'll show you blankety blank.
Yeah.
Just as soon as he said that, and I went, you just failed.
Right.
You weren't even strong enough to put the car in the drive.
Right.
No. That's not fair. You just got, you can start the time yet. In other words, he realized a man that is able to not just rule his body or rule his mind, but is also able to rule his heart. Mm-hmm. See? Mm-hmm. Now that's a strong man. So when you start dealing with issues of the heart, a lot of times people want to kind of shy away from that because you're dealing with things at too deep a level.
Yeah.
They want to stay shallow. But your true strongest individuals are people who are willing to deal with things heart, mind, and body.
Right.
And so, this verse in Ephesians chapter 4, now I will tell you this too. Human beings, we're something else, man. First thing Adam did when he sinned and God called him on it is he put the blame on somebody else.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny.
The woman you gave me.
The woman you gave me. And it's kind of funny that Eve didn't say, yeah, you're right, Lord. Man, she turned around and pointed the finger at the devil,
right?
At the serpent, right? And we've been doing that ever since. We've been passing the blame even officers, even people who uphold the law, when they're dealing with things of their own life and character, are very, very quick to pass the blame.
So you're saying things that are occurring today are the same as what was occurring at the beginning of time? The very beginning of this old ancient book?
Thank you very much.
Wow.
Humans haven't changed at all. As a matter of, when people say, well, I love this word. People say, oh, the progressives are at it again. Let me tell you something. We've been digressing since Eden.
Mm-hmm.
And digressing since Adam and Eve, since the beginning of the human race. We're not progressing.
So, and I think that's an important point here, right? Because I can just tell you, that's the way I was. Right? I thought it's a bunch of thee and thous and who art and everything else, and I couldn't make sense, heads or tails of it or whatnot. One thing that greatly assisted me was getting a translation that others had verified were correct in their translation, their interpretation, but that I could better understand, more easily understand, and see how it spoke to my current circumstances. And you get into a book like Proverbs and you find, oh my gosh, these are rules to live by for life, that not to confine you, but to help you,
expand and set you free.
And Exactly.
Give you wisdom, know what to do about life.
And it's the greatest loss, I think, out there, because
it is.
Until someone has somebody that they trust say, hey, just don't take my word for it. Just take a look at this.